Hi there, what's up, Cloakfiend here. Big shout out to my patrons, all 4 of them. And a massive shout out to Chris, Pete, Dan, and whoever else is in our forum, Sammy and some other people. Basically we started this Discord forum to kind of discuss the problems with the Elegoo Mars Pro, because a certain core of us kind of knew this problem straight away out of the box. It's like, there's something going on here. So what is that? I mean, as soon as I saw the light turn on, I was like, that's a bit weird, I can see a grid. And then when I saw my models, even the first rook, when that came out the printer, I looked at it and I was like, that's odd, there's these kind of weird faint lines going through it. And I was just like, what's that all about? No one said on the forums, no one said on like YouTube or anywhere else that they all raved about this printer. They all said, wow, the Mars produces amazing, this printer's amazing, wicked detail, blah blah blah. So essentially I went out and bought one. That's why I bought one, because they got such good reviews. So I think the 90% of the people who bought a Mars Pro bought one because they heard good things about it. But the problem is that the Mars Pro in its current state is just simply not as good as the regular Mars in terms of quality. Just like the Saturn, I guess. You know, anything with a grid array suffers from this problem, and this problem might have been around for a while, but I'm surprised it hasn't been fixed by now if it's been around and a known problem of resin printers. So that to me isn't really a valid excuse as to, you know, the fact that it's there. We've managed to drastically turn it down, just our group. One of the methods was by sanding, and the other one was by reducing the size of the grid lines, which also helped, and that's at stock height. I'm just going to give a massive shout out to Chris, because he's the one who designed this new bracket. I'm going to give it a try out now, but it's looking promising. So this is the old bracket. It's got these very thick middle lines, as you can see here, and they're kind of curved. Now the new one here is much thinner. So that was the theory to improve it. That wasn't my theory, that was Chris's. So all the credit goes to him. He just released the file as I printed it. So look at the old one. Now look at the new one. Now that is an improvement, isn't it? Tell me. Side by side, there you go. Look at that. So I have a feeling it's a combination of the lenses and the support. So clearly thinner is better, and you can barely even see the lines are even in there. And that's just done on my Ultimaker S5. So big shout out to Ultimaker as well for being very accurate in your printing standards. That's printed 70mm per second, 0.2 layer height. Took about 3 hours. Good job there. So yeah, so I'm gonna put in my Ultimaker piece now into my Mars Pro and see how it looks. Okay, so this is the new grid at stock height, but just much thinner. So as you can see, it's actually a lot better with the grid. So the grid is clearly coming from the plastic thickness of the grid in the middle. This actually looks pretty good. I'm going to leave a print on overnight and see what it looks like, but it's promising. Definitely promising. If I sand this down, it might even be even better. That's without sanding. So just by thinning the lines in the middle, it improves it, or sanding improves it, not both. Or if you're going to do them both, then you're going to have to play with the heights. That's the problem. There are so many variables involved in getting that focus right. I would have hoped that, you know, someone along this way would have done it by now. This isn't a new problem. It's been around for a very long time, and again, I'm surprised no one else has brought it up, or a couple of us bring it up in forums and people just say just go away, just be happy it works and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you know, at the end of the day, the original Mars didn't have it, which is why, you know, I'm making a little bit of a big deal about it, because rather than it being an improved printer, it's worse than the original one. You know, I want to be able to print essentially a perfect ball or kind of a torso without faint grid lines running through them. And I mean, they're so obvious. I mean, it puts to question anyone who actually has these kind of printers and hasn't noticed them, because these printers have been around for a while. There have even been trial versions, early previews versions from, you know, that have been sent out to YouTubers and stuff like that. I mean, if someone prints a massive object like a mask or a tentacle or anything massive, I mean, you're going to see those grid lines on them. I mean, and for the fact that that hasn't been brought up once puts that entire channel into question. I mean, I praise myself on quality and I seek perfection. I understand I may not get it, but I try, and I've been like PLA acetoning my prints acetone in my PLA prints for like six years now, and I kind of got a technique down that I'm really happy with. And you know, I've printed my stuff on an Ultimaker and I've got no problems with it. You know, I've never had a problem with it in years, and I bought a Mars Pro and I've had problems from day one really. So that's like fair enough, that's an FDM printer to a resin printer, and a much more expensive one of that. But at the end of the day, if you're new to this and you're thinking of buying a resin printer, there's a lot to think about. There you have it. At the end of the day, the Mars Pro has not been fixed quite yet. But there have been numerous fixes along the way. I mean, like now I've just received my second lens as well, which hasn't really improved at all. It's done nothing. So I wonder who tested this when it went out. Do they even know what units is getting tested on? I gave them my numbers. Surely, you know, it just seemed as though no one really knew what was going on back in the day. And I think after I posted my video, things started working. But anyway. Now, just to those who have no idea, this is the model I kind of test because I know it always has the lines on it when I print it. So that they're here, there, and across the head, and most notably kind of across here, basically. So, I mean, some people might be saying, why are you making such a big deal about it? Well, the big deal is the fact that I can't print something and then leave it. You know, there's deformities. It's not like, you know, I can't spray that either because you will see that through the coating. So it actually has a physical effect on your model. It's not just cosmetic, you know. So don't listen to people who just say, oh, it's okay, you can just spray over it, it's done, because that's a lie. It actually affects your print like in a physical way. So, you know, this one, okay, maybe I might get away with that spraying, but again, I don't think so. And this one out here, this is definitely an indent. This is a line that is actually, you know, you can see a shadow, it casts a shadow, so this is actually a problem. I mean, you might get people saying, look at that paper, look, it's so perfect, look how perfect it is. I mean, you can still make out these faint outlines, and this print was actually the same setup that I created this. So you might go, oh, look at that, it's all perfect, but then you print it and it's not perfect. So it's not as simple as printing a flat piece of paper, you know, a flat test that looks pretty good. Look, there's no holes in there. You can see the subtle dots. So it's not such a simple problem to fix. Another problem is that weird kind of, you can't see it so much, but here, it's these weird kind of these weird lines that kind of, this is obviously some kind of reflection from the LEDs or something that's kind of bouncing around. So that's the main problem I'm having. You know, here I've got a nice clean print, but then where the lines are, it's kind of all weird. So that's the main problem. Not only do they have to get rid of the lines and the dots, but they need to get rid of these kind of weird, kind of little, whatever, ringing-esque lines that go over it all, you know, these weird kind of double lines that just kind of go over the whole lot. So yeah, Elegoo, I hope you solve that. I'll be watching. And anyway, so what I'm going to be doing is basically doing a test. Well, I'm doing the test on the thinner grid now, so I'll show you that next time. And I'm also going to do a test where I raise the bed above the generic stock kind of layout where you see the grid, because when you raise the bed, it actually does blur it out nicely, as you'll see in this video here. So yeah, as you're watching this here, you can actually see as I'm moving the paper away, that kind of offsetting the distance from the bed actually defocuses the display, making it more uniform. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. So yeah, hold tight for those videos. Should be up with you within the next day or so. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. See you later.